Hello and welcome, beautiful souls, to my channel, Light of Shaya. My channel is all about illuminating the spiritual path forward and bringing you uplifting messages of love and light. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome to those of you who are new, and welcome to those of you who are returning. So I haven't been posting videos for the last few days because I needed some time to recuperate. There's a huge energetic shift currently going on. Some of you may be feeling it. I think I even mentioned it in my last video, where lots of sleepless nights or like waking up early. Last night I got 6 hours of sleep, which was fantastic because I was averaging maybe like 3 before. So I'm feeling a lot better now. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started with the reading. Don't want to really chat your ear off here because I know my videos can be a little bit long sometimes. But I got some new cards here that I was super excited about sharing with you guys. This particular deck just, I don't know, there's something about it that just screamed at me when I saw it. Not screamed isn't the right word, but it felt like home the moment that I saw it, and I'm really, really excited to share it with you. So let's go ahead and get started here. I hope you're all doing well today. I've gone through a massive transformation. I did mention it in one of my last videos that I did. I think it was called A Snake in the Grass. And it's I think it was like something like a wish fulfillment about a soulmate or something like that. But I have finally, in a sense, ascended. It's so bizarre. I recognize my divine nature now, and it is the most incredible experience when you see that. Now I see the divinity in all people. My former partner that I was with, I realized why I had such a strong connection with him that I could not understand. And it was because we were soul family. We weren't meant to be together in this lifetime. That wasn't his purpose in my life. It was actually so based in friendship. And it's the first time in the entirety of my life that I've ever felt genuine love for a friend. And I mean, not that I'm saying that I haven't loved friends in the past, but I mean, this is an unconditional love. I know that no matter what happens in our lives, he and I will always be connected. And that is one of the most sweet, wonderful experiences I've ever had. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into this. So today, Spirit has a few messages here. We have competence. Just want to make sure you guys can see this here. These cards are so beautiful. It's almost like this, I forgot what her name was. I'll have to... Her name is Rosie Aronson. It's like she captured the essence of the soul in these people's eyes in this artwork. It's incredible. And then we have imagination. There we go. Such beautiful artwork. These cards are so big. But let's go ahead and get into the book here. See what this is about. So all of these have a soul story attached to them and then a meaning. But in order to keep this video a little bit on the shorter side, I'm just going to go ahead and read the meaning of the cards for you. Okay? I hope that's okay. If you guys want to hear the soul story, just let me know. I'll go ahead and just let me know. Put a comment down below. So the gift that this card here brings is competence. The shadow aspect of this card is compromise. And, ooh, that's an interesting word. I've never heard of it before. So the siddhi, or like, I believe that's a soul calling or like the dharma behind it or something along those lines, is bounteousness? Like bounty, if you will. Interesting. Competence carries within it efficiency, enthusiasm, flair, and flexibility, the 4 keys to material success. Wow. Interestingly enough, I was thinking about abundance this morning, material abundance. I'll share a little bit after I read this. So, the gift of this card to you. I'm here to remind you of your dreams and to encourage you to take an honest look at your life. It is time to put the fire back into your belly and stop making compromises. The more you compromise, the more trapped you will become in a life that isn't even yours. You are born to inherit a rich, fulfilling, and harmonious life and to experience competence. I see you cutting through obstacles, loving what you do, becoming a magnetic original, and adapting creatively to new synchronistic opportunities that comes your way. Open to the bounteousness that awaits. I hope I'm saying that right. Bounteousness. Anyway, so here's a question for contemplation for you guys. What are you compromising in your life? Where are you leaking precious energy? And where are you settling? These are excellent questions to ask ourselves on the spiritual path and just in life in general. There are often times we put ourselves in positions that we never wanted to be in the first place because of either a social construct, tradition, or peer pressure from family or friends. So the question is, where are you now in life where you're feeling a little constricted, a little bit not yourself, a little bit unhappy, or maybe a lot for some of you? I got the 10 of Wands in my head when I said that. So some of you may have a very big burden on your shoulders that you know that you have to put down. So let's get into imagination, number 64 here. And so what I was talking about abundance, I recognize just how abundant I truly am when I really looked around my surroundings. And I have been practicing a lot of gratitude, but I have a lot of things that the average person doesn't have. And I recognize that sometimes abundance doesn't come from the self, it comes from the people around you. Sometimes you have a very, very strong support system that allows the universe to pour abundance into your life through them. So for example, some of you who may live at home, or some of you who have roommates, or some of you who are living in a situation where somebody is helping you out financially or providing something for you, that is a form of abundance. And sometimes, see, now the interesting thing about it is that it can become unhealthy when you become extremely reliant on it. If you're not wanting to progress with life and you're comfortable, then it's likely there's an issue there. However, what I want to really put emphasis on here is the gratitude that you should have towards those circumstances, because it's incredibly beautiful to have such a powerful support system in place. And that support system has been put into place for you by the universe, for you to accept the abundance of the universe. And in addition to that, to learn certain lessons likely about what it means to be a human being and connecting with people. It's okay for you to rely on people, but not in a codependent way. And the same thing goes for, this is the case in friendships and relationships. There should always be an equal give and take. Sometimes in life, you can give 80% and the person you're working with can give 20%, but eventually that person will amp up the giving. Sometimes they're not exactly in the position to give you the things or rather, how do I explain this? It's not about desiring that they give you something in turn, because true friendship isn't based on that, right? However, you will know the difference between a healthy relationship and a healthy friendship when you start recognizing that you're the one giving too much in a certain situation. And it's always consistently like that. And if that's the case, then that's likely not a good friendship or a good relationship to be in. Let's get into imagination. So for this card here, the shadow aspect of this is confusion, and the siddhi is illumination. So this is really interesting because this goes in congruence with this card here. Wow. If you allow your pain or the world pain to be expressed through an artistic process, you will see alchemy and progress. Wow. I come to set your imagination free. But first, you must bless your pain and confusion with the gift of your awareness. In the presence of confusion, there is nothing to do, nowhere to go, nothing to figure out. Confusion is a totally natural human state. It is actually holy ground. So taste it, embrace it, but do not try to change, interpret, or get rid of it. As soon as you remember that you are not your confusion, its true diamond nature will emerge from the coal. And your imagination will be released so that you can give expression to your pain and inner demons through a fulfilling process of creativity. Whether you're expressing with a paintbrush or a pen, be honest, courageous, illogical, and wild. Go where no one else has gone before. Wow, that is beautiful. So here are a couple questions for contemplation. Where are you still hiding your originality? How do your current relationships reinforce your hiding? What are the ways you avoid feeling pain and confusion? Do you get angry? Do you overthink? Do you keep busy? And a lot of the times what ends up happening is we try to distract ourselves from the reality of our situations. I'm going to go ahead and pull some oracle cards from the Animal Spirit Oracle here. So these are excellent questions to ask ourselves. They're wonderful questions because then I love these cards because they give you the opportunity to truly grow, because life is all about growth, and not just as a human being, it's present in the very nature of the universe. When you look at our planet, when you look at nature, nature is all about growth. Everything grows, and then of course eventually it dies, and from that death comes more eventually over time. And a lot of times, some of the aspects of ourselves that we do not like need to die in order for a better, stronger, more true version of ourselves to emerge. We have stag spirit, take the lead. Wow. Parrot spirit, watch her words. Elephant spirit, learn from the past. Wow, 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 wow. This is beautiful, guys. At the bottom of the deck, we have be generous of spirit, lion spirit here. So this really goes into this is also very much aligned. It's beautiful. So with stag spirit here, I'm getting excited. Take the lead. What are the places in your life where you would like to do more? Where is it that you're afraid for you to stand out amongst the crowd? There are certain things that you've been gifted with, and you're fully aware. Some of you aren't, unfortunately, because of the upbringing that you've had, but all of you have special gifts. You have a special gift to offer the world, and your uniqueness is the beauty of you. There is no one out there in the entirety of the universe who is just like you. And that is an immense realization to come. When we realize the power of our being, when we realize the truth of who we are, we begin to see that we are unique, very individual expressions of the all, incarnated in the flesh. It's beautiful. It is immense. And so there shouldn't be a fear for you to have to stand up and be yourself and be strong, because when you do that from a place of integrity, it frees you. It frees you from the construct. It frees you from the chains that you've bound yourself to. This is getting, I'm feeling very like Eight of Swords, or like even Devil card for some of you. The image is popping into my head. Some of you have kept yourself bound. With the Devil card, these people appear to be shackled against their will, but they can actually break free from the chains. It's quite easy. If you look at the card, well, it's hard to say here because unfortunately I don't, I read the tarot and I love the tarot, but I do not have the original Rider-Waite deck, and I've been been meaning to buy it. But if you look at the Devil in the original deck, there's two human beings that are bound to chains. That are connected to the Devil, like a kind of like pillar, from what I recall. And they can break free from these because it appears as though they are chained there, but they're really not. It's fascinating, really. Anyhow, my point being here is when you stand up in your integrity and you are true to yourself, it allows you to really truly express yourself, and you start to free yourself from all of the old mindsets and ideas that we once had. It's very similar to this card here in a sense. I mean, take a look at this card with the Devil here. You can see that at the bottom, this Devil appears all powerful. And below is this person who's almost like moping. Right down here. She's laying there moping. I'm not sure if you guys can kind of see that. She's moping. And the man over here also is in a very similar situation. But they're not chained. They're choosing to stay there. They can walk away. And the Devil, interestingly enough, look, he doesn't have solid footing here. It looks almost like he's rooted in place. So it appears as if he can control them, but he cannot. And in the same way, your thought forms, your ideas, your patterns, whatever it is in your life that you have that you think has control over you, that's not the case. And this comes through very strongly with Parrot Spirit. Watch your words. Remember, your thoughts become your reality. If you've been doubting the law of manifestation, it's absolutely 100% true. There is no doubt in my mind now that the law of attraction is reality. It is so true. And interestingly enough, a lot of us tend to overcomplicate it. Overcomplicate it. And this is because of the construct of our society. We have been devoid of our divinity for so long, and that is why we have so much pain and suffering in the world right now. We have forgotten the unitedness of the all. We forget that by harming others, we are also harming ourselves. And by harming ourselves, we're also harming others. When you speak ill of yourself, you're doing yourself a world of harm. There's no need to be so hard on yourself. You're a human being. You're allowed to be imperfect. You're allowed to make mistakes. However, that doesn't mean that you should allow yourself to be stuck there, because it's when you allow yourself to say, "This is just who I am." What you're doing is you're enabling yourself, and now you're stagnating, and you're preventing your growth. So instead of saying things like "this is just how I am" or things along those lines, it's time to start using more positive affirmations. For example, one of the channels that I watch, the lady who created that channel, her name's Mary Jo. She one of my favorite sayings that she said is, "Everything is always working out for me." And that is such a powerful statement. Everything is always working out for me. And isn't it true? Everything in your life has always really worked out. I'm sure you've had a lot of very stressful times, and you've gone through a lot of pain, but you're still here. And you're still learning, and you're still growing, and you're still being. So everything has been working out for you. But where haven't you recognized the potency in that? With Elephant Spirit, further lending to what I am speaking of, it says, learn from the past. Elephant Spirit here is telling you it's time. Is there something that you're holding on to that you no longer need to hold on to? Something that you know has been likely long dead and gone, like a tradition or an idea or an upbringing. For example, in my case, I've been sharing my story with people because I know that it's incredibly important to share this message. I was raised by a narcissistic parent, and it was incredibly destructive because my father wasn't there, and I only knew the love of my mother. And unfortunately, my mother grew up in an abusive household as well. So she took on those patterns, and she didn't know how else to demonstrate love. She didn't beat me the way that my grandma beat her, but a lot of the abuse came verbally and emotionally, and it was very manipulative. And so I carried these wounds with me for the entirety of the rest of my life till now. I'm 29, by the way. And so when I look back, I realize now that I was incredibly toxic. And I had no idea that I was toxic. I didn't see I was wearing a false self mask. I didn't see that the reality was the reason why my relationships weren't working out wasn't because of other people. It was because of me. Because I always had to be right. I always had to have the last word. I always had to know what was right. And there was nothing ever wrong with me. Although, don't get me wrong, there were times that I did admit to my faults, because thankfully, I'm not a true narcissist, because I happen to have empathy. We all fall on the spectrum between the narcissist and empath scale. And some of us are a little more attuned to one or the other, right? So what are you holding on to from the past? Are there certain behaviors and patterns? For example, I recently heard somebody telling me their story about how they would purposely ignore their partner in order to stir them up. That is a controlling behavior, and it's very emotionally manipulative. It's not healthy to behave this way. If there's something on your mind that you need to get out, and you need time. In the past, that's what I would do. I would tell my former partner, I would say, "Hey, this is really upsetting to me. I'm going to need some time alone so that we can talk things out when I'm not angry or upset." And that's coming from a very healthy place. And thankfully, I wasn't completely corrupted by my upbringing, so I was capable of doing these things at the time. But do you kind of see what I'm lending to here? The idea of learning from the past. Take the lessons that you learn that contribute to your life, not the lessons that are a detriment to your life. Okay? So that message had to come out very strongly. I'm going to pull some angel messages. Alrighty, if you guys are enjoying this content, please do hit the like and subscribe button. It really does help the channel out with its growth, and it allows me to bring more messages to people who are just like you, or looking for a little bit of clarity in their lives. Yeah, I see Jeremiah trying to come out here. Jeremiah is the angel of forgiveness, the miracle of forgiveness. So some of you may be holding on to something from the past. Some of you may even be saying hurtful words to somebody else, not even hurtful words to just yourself. So do be mindful of these things. Remember, when people come into your lives that you have like an intimate connection with, not just a stranger who's a jerk to you or anything like that. Because if there's a stranger who's a jerk to you, it's fine. that you get upset. It's okay if you get upset, but remember, we are in control of our emotions at the end of the day. But let's say you have a partner who triggers you, or a friend who triggers you. It's important to take a look at why we're being triggered by it. Like, what is the trigger there? What is it that causes us to feel that way? Yeah, I knew you wanted to come out. Archangel Hanael, honor your feelings. Look at that. Okay, beautiful, beautiful. We have the inner voice and spiritual support. Wow. So it says, Dear angels, I allow you to support me as I grow to become more spiritually aware. Yes. The inner voice. Thank you, angels, for guiding me through my inner voice. And then, like I said, Archangel Hanael here. Thank you, Hanael, for supporting me as I honor my emotions. So as I was saying, it's important for you to recognize why you're being triggered by certain people. And if you're being triggered by them, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with you feeling the way that you feel. It's just a matter of being able to look at the emotions and not necessarily react outwardly. And interestingly enough, when you become more spiritually attuned, you begin to see that people are people and that they have these wounds within them that enable them to behave this way. And so when you come towards them from the lens of compassion, you begin to see that these people are similar to you in that sense, that they too have been wounded and that they're coming from a place of hurt. And so it should never be looked at as a way of them trying to hurt you. So a lot of you right now are very spiritually supported right now. Your angels and guides are working with you very strongly right now. And likely you guys already have had an intuitive knowing, likely about something you need to let go of from the past, likely when it comes to moving. Sorry guys, that plane was really loud, so I went ahead and cut off the video. But anyway, as I was saying, there's something your inner voice has been telling you about learning from the past. Learning from the past, but letting go of the past, something that no longer serves you. And then with Take the Lead in Stag Spirit here with spiritual support, the way I'm reading this is there's likely something that you've been holding off, taking a jump towards, like moving towards strongly. But you're being encouraged to step out of your comfort zone, because at the end of the day, no matter what you do, you are spiritually supported. You are so incredibly powerful. And some of you are not even aware of how powerful you are. You are a divine being. You are a god. You are a goddess. Okay? With Parrot Spirit, watch your words and honor your feelings. It's important for you right now. It's important for you right now don't be so hard on yourself if you feel a certain way. Don't be so hard on yourself, because oftentimes, I've been caught in that loop in the past, where I feel like everything is going wrong and I say, oh, I feel like shit. and then I start elaborating on it. Like, well, yeah, you deserve to feel like shit because you did XYZ thing, right? Or something really deprecating, like self-deprecating, like, it's okay for you to feel sad. It's okay for you to feel angry. It's okay for you to feel confusion. It's okay for you to feel it. That really goes in congruence with the cards that I pulled earlier. It's okay for you to feel that confusion. But don't allow the confusion, don't allow that to scare you. Don't allow it to take control over you. Holy moly, those planes, so many of them lately. So I'm not used to hearing them anymore. So that used to happen all the time here, but because of the pandemic, I heard less and less of it, but now I'm hearing a lot more of it. Okay, I'm being guided to pull from the bottom of the deck here for the Wild Unknown Spirit Animal deck. Wow. So we have the mouse, we have the frog, and we have the peacock. I'll show you these here. There's the peacock. Mouse. And frog. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the interpretation of these cards. So I did have to look up the peacock here because I had a feeling about that I knew what it was, but there's actually a very specific message in there that really correlates to everything surrounding this that is going to resonate like very heavily, because this is kind of where I was going. So the peacock is all about kind of, even in the Spirit Animal Oracle, like these cards here, it's all about letting it shine, letting you shine your light. And the The interesting thing about the peacock is that you think that the beauty is external because of all the plumage that it has. But the reality of the situation is that it's not about the external beauty of the peacock. It's about the internal beauty. And in the same way, that's the message that I was trying to convey to you. Now listen to this. This is really cool. So the peacock represents inner beauty, compassion, and is an assimilator of anything. And I mean anything. The beauty of the peacock is unrivaled. It's easy to think it comes from the plumage, but the secret of the peacock is that the beauty resides within and extends outwards indefinitely. This adept creature can assimilate or digest all experiences in life, so it does not harbor resentment, conflict, or past pain within its psyche. The peacock type is extremely rare. Not many of us have reached this advanced level of acceptance of the self and others. So meditation is coming through very strongly, but a person who isn't, guys, so I want to say this because oftentimes, and I know this from personal experience, I used to spend a lot of time judging others because I did not know their story. And the reality is that likely you too have suffered from this sort of judgment. A lot of people might say, wow, that person is a bad person because they did XYZ thing. Right? And I've been guilty of that in the past where I'm like, wow, I cannot believe that so-and-so acquaintance of mine behaved that way. That's totally unacceptable. That's not okay. But interestingly enough, how would we have reacted if we were in the same current circumstances as they were in that time? We do not know. We simply do not know. We each obviously have our own personalities and our own upbringings and tendencies that we learned from the past. Things that we tell ourselves, stories that we tell ourselves. So this is about changing your story so that you can start seeing things from the eyes of the peacock. When you start to realize that people are a reflection of yourself and that instead of harboring ill towards them or judging them, the reality is that we should be looking at them with the eyes of compassion. That's what, in a sense, Christ would do. That's what Christ consciousness is. When you can look upon somebody else and see the beauty in them instead of saying, wow, that person is awful. And this goes even for the cruelest of people, believe it or not. That's Christ consciousness, when you can see the ugly in a person and say, wow, that makes them who they are, and that's so incredibly beautiful. Do they have things to learn? Of course. That's not going to change. That person is reflecting also how far you've come along your journey. It's not about them, it's about you. And so the question is also, what is it how do you view yourself, and do you care what other people think of you? For the longest time, because of my upbringing, narcissism is all about your self-image. Narcissism is all about the way you present yourself to the world. I wanted to be looked at as the perfect person, the sweetest kind of person, the most intelligent. And that's so unhealthy because you start creating a false self-mask around who you really are. And that isn't to say that I'm not kind. That isn't to say that I'm not smart. It's just a matter of like, maybe sometimes I kind of like really wanted to make a point about how smart I was. So maybe I used a bigger word than the norm or something like that. You get kind of what I'm saying? I hope you're kind of understanding what I'm saying, because a lot of the times we wear false self masks in front of others in order for us to appear a certain way. And we all do this. We're all guilty of this because we want to be loved and accepted. But the reality here is that you shouldn't be focusing on the other. You should be focusing on yourself. How would you feel if you could be authentically you? And how freeing would it be if you didn't care what other people thought of you? So as I was saying, this card speaks of being very nitpicky, tending to all the details. And a lot of the times what we do is we get lost in the details. We get lost in the day-to-day of life. We're constantly looking for the next thing to do. And so the mouse is always so busy trying to tend to the small things that they lose the big picture. And we get lost in the whole sense of future. We're not living in the moment. When was the last time you truly sat down and just paid attention to the food that you were eating? And I mean no thoughts whatsoever other than enjoying the food. And I can, for a large majority of you, I'm going to take a wild guess and say that you were likely, that some of you will say, oh yeah, I enjoyed the last meal. Like I remember like it was really good. But what were your thoughts while you were consuming that food? Was your mind thinking about the next thing to do? Because you might have enjoyed the meal. Yeah, I'm not going to say that you didn't enjoy it, but did you truly enjoy it? Did you savor every moment of the food? Did you pay attention to the textures, the smells, the way the presentation looked in the plate, the way there was, I don't know, the oil stuck to the sides of the bowl or something? You kind of get what I'm saying? Like really truly being in the moment and just engaging in what it was that you were doing. Alluding to my story, for example, I drew for the first time for the sake of drawing, and it was beautiful. All right, sorry guys, I decided to open up the window a little bit more, well, close the actual window because those planes are super loud today. Anyway, so I drew for the first time for the sake of drawing and just really just paying attention to the strokes of the pen. And it was the most liberating experience for me because in the past when I drew, it was because it had to be a perfect drawing. I had to present that drawing so that people could enjoy it. And this is, once again, the whole idea of the false self-mask. When you present that to other people and you say, I'm only drawing for the sake of others. At that point, you're not even enjoying what it is that you like to do. So then why do it? You see how important that is for you to really just allow yourself to be present in the moment and do things for you from now on. Do what makes you happy, like truly happy, not the illusion of happiness, but true happiness. With the frog spirit here, this is also in congruence with letting go of the past. This is about clearing out the clutter. What is it in your life that needs that transformation, that purification in your life? What is it that needs to be cleared out? Is it thought patterns? Is it people? Or is it an environment? I'm going to read out of the book for this one because I think there's a message for someone out there. Okay, frog. Clearing, cleansing, healing. The frog and the water element are almost inseparable. The frog spends its first months of life entirely within this healing element and then emerges to rest on land. But no matter how earthly, in quotes, the frog becomes, its need for cleansing and rejuvenation is regular. Frogs tend to become overworked and undernourished, so it's vital that such sensitive creatures practice self-care. This card serves as a reminder that water helps us cleanse, forgive, and release. Time to dive in. Frogs aren't meant to carry a heavy load. Remember when I channeled the Ten of Wands? There is somebody out there who's carrying a lot of weight on their shoulders. So this is when you're in balance with the frog, you feel an enthusiasm for life. You feel free. But if you're feeling out of balance with the frog, it's about you're running on empty. You're feeling depleted. So some of you, I always suggest this. Every now and again, I need to go to the beach. I just so happen to live, thankfully, on one of the coasts here in the US, and I'm like, I need to go to the beach. I need to just be near water and experience it. For some of us, we're not that lucky, of course. But if you can go to like a lake or a river nearby or something where there's water, even a bathhouse, if you can do that, that's great. If not, if you do not have access to these, or obviously, especially with the circumstances in the world, take a bath. Take a bath and just enjoy the water. Enjoy, I love taking baths with Epsom salt and essential oils. Because it just allows me to relax and be. And it allows the water to rejuvenate me. Water has such a puring, cleansing feel to it. And interestingly enough, our bodies are mostly comprised of water. Another practice that I really highly suggest is the next time you drink water, drink it with intention and be grateful for it. What I like to do sometimes is I'll hold the cup to my chest to where my heart is, and I just feel love. I feel love, and I allow that love vibration to enter into the water because I'm so grateful for it. Because without water, I would not be here, and neither would you. It's sacred. Water is sacred for us, and we too are comprised of this. So it's important to be thankful for things. Sometimes we lose sight of the physical, this physical reality, this whole projection. It's a sophisticated hologram, but it's incredibly sacred. We forget that this physical flesh is the divine essence. Everything from the cards, these textures, to the foods that we eat. It's sacred. And so it carries a weight with it. Everything that we do should be done with intention. And in the end, we should always do the things that make us truly happy. So, with that being said, I'm going to end the message there. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this helped at least one person out there. I'm sending you so much love and so much light. Take care.